Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
So what we basically do is that we invest in property, but now today, it's not more about us, it's more about you. So what we strive to do is to give you quality content, right? So now I wanted to open up with a scripture there.
Yeah. So, morning, ladies and gents. 11, I'm not sure if it's 11 or 12 years ago, I was a prefect. I remember that as a prefect, everybody got an opportunity to speak in front of the school and share scripture. I made sure that I don't go up there because I was so shy. But then today is actually the first time whereby I'm sharing a scripture with so many people. It just came to me right now when we were being introduced because it makes sense of us being in such a place and also talking about entrepreneurship. So please bear with me as I share the scripture, right? It's Matthew 25, 14 to 30, right? I'm reading the New International Version. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to the other 1 bag, each according to his ability. What is your take on that? I'll repeat. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted them with his wealth. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to the other 1 bag, each according to his ability. What's your take on that? As come on, I did say that it's one of those unprepared tests, man. So let's engage. What's your take on that? And it's a painful one. It's a painful one. Yes, sir.
I think it has to do with investments.
What about it, sir?
You should multiply whatever you've been given. Don't misuse it or just put it away. Do something with it so that it multiplies and grows.
Did we hear that? So it's in the Bible. So if you're not multiplying or if you don't understand the laws of multiplying, you shouldn't blame anybody but yourself. So that's what we will be discussing today. I know we were given a topic speaking about property investing. However, we really want to hit home in terms of where does it really come from. Because I cannot focus on property investing without understanding multiplication. So if you didn't like maths, or if you like maths, you're in the right place today.
Okay, so now in June 1976, right, we know that a lot of youth actually passed on for us to be able to actually study in English, right? So now something that I want to bring to your attention is that, did everybody how cold it was in the morning? Imagine taking it to the street that, you know what, I'm going to fight for my rights. They could have waited for December and say that we'll wait for it to be warm and then only we'll go to the streets. But now imagine how sick and tired do you have to be to actually wake up in the morning and say that, you know what, I am actually going to be fighting for my rights, right? So that was in June 1976. Now let's look at today. What do you think is the problem of us as the youth?
Which war are we fighting against today? Come on, guys, with our talk, we're going to be engaging. So if I see that you guys are not raising up your hands, I'm going to pick on you. Deal. Yes, sir.
Not to mention the exact one, but one of them is unemployment.
Unemployment. So we have unemployment. Come on, guys, we're talking now. We're talking. What are we fighting against now? Poverty. So we've got poverty. We've got poverty and we've got unemployment. So far, so good. There's no wrong answer. I see you've got an answer, bro. Ashil. Okay. Nepotism. Sure. You took it there. You took it there. Nepotism. Can we get the last one? Corruption. 100%. So today what we're going to be speaking about, right, is the psychological warfare and also the economical warfare. I'm hoping that we would have encompassed everything in those two, right? So you can start.
So it's easy to blame somebody when your situation is not right, right? So say, for instance, if I came here today and something went wrong, it's easy for me to say that, no, it's Neo's fault that something went wrong. Now, it becomes harder if you start blaming yourself. So say, for instance, if you're looking at a situation, I know when you hear the motivation speakers talk, they always say that, you know what, you always need to put the blame on yourself. So now, when you are born, you don't really have a choice in terms of are you born into a rich family or a poor family, right? But now, as you grow up, the things that you do or the decisions that you start taking will be the ones that will lead you to what you're actually going into. So what am I saying by that? If right now you're in a situation whereby, like for me right now, I grew up here in Protea South, right? Protea South, I mean, the situations were against me. But did I make that thing to define who I am? It didn't become who I am. So now what we really need to start doing is that how do we change our psychology to become in a position whereby I am now starting to position myself so that I can actually get the best for myself.
And then I've got another interesting question that I'm going to ask you, right? Who thinks that money makes you happy? Who thinks that money makes you happy? Who's against that notion? Who is for that notion? Who's against it? And when you raise up your hand, I also want to hear a reason why you're saying that money does make you happy or money shouldn't make you happy. We're engaging, guys. We're engaging. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Money makes you happy. Why would you say that? It comes with certain type of happiness. For example, Ferrari. You're able to do more things, right? Okay, so we've got the guys that are for it. Can we get somebody who's against it? Yeah?
I don't think money makes you happy because the more money we have, the more responsibilities we have. Responsibilities grow with the amount of money we have. So I wouldn't really say that makes you happy.
Sure. Yes, sir.
I don't think money makes you happy because once you have it, what you use it on becomes a problem. It's a question of am I using it correctly or not? And if it's not serving others, how does that make you happy? Having a Benz alone, how is it making the next person happy? So I'm going to concur with the statement, money breeds more problems.
Money brings more problems.
Yes.
Okay, so can we say that we don't want money?
No.
Okay.
What money
Brings, right? So let's look at it from this perspective. Happiness comes in from inside. If you are not happy from the inside, then no money or no amount of money will make you happy, right? So now, the thing is, if you are looking for money, money will bring you comfort, right? So if you want to sleep on that queen-size bed, that's what money will bring. But now we need to look internally that what will make me happy from inside. So now this might be the relationships that you create with other people, right? This might be with the jobs that you are actually doing that will actually make you happy. So now, when you're looking at wealth, we have 3 legs of wealth, right? Number 1, we have happiness, right? Happiness is number 1. Number 2, you have wealth, right? Then the last one is health. Trust me, you will not live a fulfilled life if you don't have those 3 intact. If you don't have these 3 intact, you will not be happy in life. So let's start with the health. If you are in a situation whereby at work, where you're working, you are compromising your health, no matter how much money you're going to be getting, if you are actually sick every time, you won't enjoy your money, right? Let's look at it from a perspective of money. If you're saying that I'm happy, however, I'm happy and I am actually healthy, but now you're not able to live in comfort, now it becomes a problem for you because you'll always be feeling like you're missing something from the inside, right? So now when you're looking at these 3 points, you need to have all 3 points intact so that you are able to actually thrive and become happier in life.
Sure. So basically what we're saying that as you can see that you cannot have one without the other. They're all very important, man. And then that is the psychological side of it, right? I really want us to also tap into the economical side of it. How we started today when we're speaking about the power of multiplication. Who knows the 8th wonder of this world? So how do we link the 8th wonder with what we're doing today? We're talking about the power of compound interest. So what we've noticed is that there's 3 types of people, right? Looking at these 3 types of people, person A is not interested about investment. So when you talk to them about investing, they're not interested about that, right? There's person B. When we're talking about person B, is people that actually know about simple interest. I'm sure you guys know about simple interest, right? So if we are to look at simple interest, for those who are banking maths, you're going to be exposed now. When we're looking at simple interest, right? So the bank promised us 4% annually, right? If I saved this 100 Rand for 4 years, how much would I have? I'm getting 4 rand a year. Guys, I want us all to be on the same page, right? 4 rand a year. After 3 years, how much will I have? So it's 4, 8, 12, right? 12 rand plus 100 rand. I go back to my bank and then they say 112. Please don't forget the scripture, because what I want you to do is that I want you to link this person of simple interest with what we read so that it can link up. So we looked at simple interest. Now let's go to compound interest.
So now we're still dealing with 3 years, right? But now this person, so this is person 1, right? So this is person 1. So now we have person number 2. Guys, we deal with money a lot. That's why I'm always writing R there. So you're looking at person number 2, right? So now with person number 2, they take the same 100 rand, but now they're looking at it compoundedly, right? So let's first start looking at the fundamentals of compound interest. So compound interest says that at the end of the year, I will get interest based on the balance from the previous year. If you're putting it in simple terms, is that if you have a parent here, you have 2 parents, right? When they come together, now they have 3 children. So how many human beings are there now? There's 5 human beings. If these 3 each have 2 children, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 human beings, right? So now this is compound interest. So now let's put compound interest looking at money, right? So the first year, we have the same 100 rand. At the end of the year, if you are looking at 4%, at the end of the year, how much do you have?
104.
104. So now, we said in simple interest, we are going to keep the same 4 rand until the end of the investment, right? But now look at what happens here. The 4% is now charged where? On the 104. So if you say 104 multiplied by 4%, how much do you get? 4 rand 16 cents, right? So 4 rand 16 cents plus the 104, 108 and 16 cents. So now let's go on to the third year. Same principle. We're still dealing with the 4%, right? Multiplied by 4%, how much do you get? 4 rand 33 cents. Okay? Plus the 108 and 16 cents.
112 and 49 cents.
And
Because why am I not getting answers here? Did the calculators lose network?
or is it Jamie?
Yeah?
Okay, so now are we all together? So now look at the difference, right? I'm sure right now you're thinking that it's just the difference of 49 cents, right? So now imagine if we had said that now we're dealing with bigger numbers, and we're putting 1,000 here. That means that you would have got what? 1,124 rands. So now every time when you are actually going to be looking at investing money, we need to start thinking about compound and instead of simple interest. So now I want to take you on a journey in terms of how did we get to where we are today. So what we basically do is that we purchase properties. What we do is that we purchase properties, right? And then after purchasing properties, we fix them up and then we resell those properties. So now something that you really need to understand is that if you're dealing with property, it's either you're going to make a whole lot of money or you're going to make a loss. And now loss in property investing, it's not 100 rand. You are speaking about 100,000. So now it's evident that you need to really know what you're doing when you are saying that I'm going to actually be investing in property. So the thing that I'm actually trying to bring home is that whenever you are at home, you need to invest in yourself. This thing of us going to Maponya Mall to go connect on the Wi-Fi and download things that don't better us, it's hurting you in the long run. What you'd rather do is that you position yourself that when you do go to Maponya Mall, what are you really interested in? Maybe for me, it was property investing. For you, it might be you want to be a mechanic. You find someone on the net that is doing mechanic, right? Then you are able to actually better your knowledge. Because now, if you think about it right now, the access that we have versus someone that was 20 years back, it's different. The knowledge that we are able to actually get is different from someone that was 20 years ago. Now we have access. We can just go online, how to fix my car. you'll find someone that had the same problem and that was able to actually fix that car. So now what I'm saying is that when you are actually going to get data or you're getting to Wi-Fi, make sure that you are being productive with that Wi-Fi.
So there's another quote that I'd actually like to close with. There's a book that we're reading right now. It's called The Art of War. So what The Art of War says is that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Now, I want to break that down so that we all understand what did that say. I'll repeat. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. So when we're talking about supreme, we're talking about the highest grade. When we're talking about subdue, we're talking about putting something under full control. So it goes back to our theme today in terms of the economy that we're finding ourselves in. It's either we're going to be victors or we're going to be casualties in this war. And it's totally up to you. Today, everybody right now has access to such platforms. You have access to such information. When I was in grade 12 looking for what can I do, I didn't have this. I literally had to go out. I was an Uber driver. I remember not even sleeping for the whole year, involved in an accident, but I made sure that my focus is on being a property investor. Hence today, we are hosting property workshops throughout South Africa. The same boys that grew up in Protea South. I didn't have an excuse. I knew that I need to make it not only for myself, but for my family. So hence, we are so obsessed with anything that has to do with compound. I'm hoping that one day we'll have 40 kids so that you can see that, no, these guys, they really understand compound interest. So ultimately today, guys, what we wanted to do is that we didn't want to go too deep into content in terms of property investing. We just want to push you. If you want to become a mechanic or if you want to become a model, whatever, always think about how can you also plant back, multiply. That's our message for today, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.